Hello. So this is Pat Watt in Florida, and I'm going to make a video, post it on YouTube, and then send it to my friends. And I just think it's a wonderful vehicle that one can use for all kinds of things. And we've all got stories to tell. And what a nice way to do it. Much better than sitting at a typewriter. So here goes. This is my first attempt. I've just been telling my English friend, who also lives in Florida and has been here about the same time we have. I think we both came in 1982 and it's now 2017, so we've been here a long time. And this is my new invention, so I'm pleased about that. Anyway, I want to tell a story, a true story. By the way, everything I say on this will be true. I can't lie. That would take an imagination that I haven't got. I can only tell the truth. And so anyway, here we go. Back in 1968, my friend had got a job at the new GPO tower as a receptionist, and they needed more receptionists. They had to have about 5, I think, and I'd worked with her before, so she rang me and she said, did I want to come and work there as well. It was a shift job. You either do mornings or afternoons or evenings. And so with 5 receptionists, we could cover that time. In those days, they just built it and they'd put a revolving restaurant on the top. It's not there anymore, but it was then. And our desk was at the bottom of the tower. So one walked into the tower along a long corridor, and there was our desk. And behind us was steps up to the lift, which went to the revolving restaurant. So our job was to take the reservations on the telephone, and that was the busiest phone in London. In fact, to have a break at all, or drink a cup of coffee, anything, you had to leave the phone off the hook, because as soon as you put it down, it rang, and this is what we were doing all day long. And when I used to go home and sleep, I could hear the phone ringing in my sleep. It was just before the technology today. It wouldn't be necessary, but then it was. So anyway, I got the job, and it was rather nice. The hours were good. I preferred the morning duty. That was lovely because you came in at 9:30 in the morning, and you got the lift up to the revolving restaurant, and by that time it wasn't revolving. Nobody had opened it yet, but you were the only person in that tower. In other words, you could look over the whole of London, which I just adored. Every day it would look different. Sometimes it would be misty, some days it would be raining, sometimes the sun was shining. It was just beautiful. And my favourite view was the Tower Bridge and the new Tower Hotel next to the Tower Bridge. In fact, it was on my bucket list to stay in that hotel, something I fulfilled many years later. But this was a lovely part of the job. So then you'd pick up the restaurant book from the night before and make sure that the bookings were carried forward onto your book for the day's bookings. So it was just a question of going up there and opening up. Then the tower opened, I think, about 10:30, and people would... Oh, no, the restaurant opened at 11, so people weren't in there before then. And as soon as the tower was opened, people would stroll in. They had appointments, or they were tourists, and taxis would drop them off, and they would come and speak to me or whoever else was on duty. And we would bring the lift down for them sometimes so they didn't have to go up the stairs. So far, it's pretty boring, isn't it? But I must tell you this, that because it had recently opened, it was absolutely inundated with celebrities all coming wanting to see it. And the deal was that the celebrities went straight through to the restaurant with their bookings. So I, in fact, wasn't involved with taking their bookings. However, one day I got a request, a lady, and she said to me, I want to book a table for four for Mr. Winston Churchill and party. Well, I knew that Winston Churchill had died 6 months before. I mean, everybody knew. So, as I didn't normally get the bookings for the VIPs, I thought, well, somebody's pulling my leg, and I just said, pull the other one, it's got bells on. And then the lady said, no, she said, I really do want a table for four for Mr. Winston Churchill's party. So anyway, I can't remember what happened then, but they duly turned up about an hour later. 4 people, including a small boy who was Winston Churchill's grandson and was called Winston. So I was really embarrassed, and Sarah, Winston Churchill's wife, was a lovely lady, and she looked just like him, and she was charming, and she said to me, she said, somebody thought I was an imposter, you know. I said, she's gone off duty, but would you like me to bring the lift down, save you going up the stairs? And she did, and Julie went upstairs. So that was very exciting. Also had Prince Rainier and Princess Grace, the 2 children, and a writer, Paul Gallico. They all turned up one day for a table, and Paul Gallico said to me, I'm staying at the Cumberland in Marble Arch, can you make sure they send the bill through for the party? You know, they're my guests. So I said that I would, and off they went. And that very same day, a French girl that was staying with me from Paris, she happened to come to the tower to see me that day. And was she thrilled to see them? She was just thrilled to bits. Couldn't believe it, to see her French royal family coming. The children, by the way, were at school, and they had school uniforms on, which French children, they're very strict with French children. They have to wear their uniforms when they go out or anything, and they were very stylish. Of course, they're all probably grandparents now, but then it was very nice to see them. And of course, the tower had to have one of the best chefs in London, because he was working in a small area right in the middle of the tower. It was the tiniest kitchen ever, and he was producing these 5-star meals, so he had to be the best chef. I remember when he was going off duty one day, I said, oh, you're not leaving yet, are you? I haven't come up for my meal. He said, oh, for you, we'll open a tin. So that was what he thought of me. But they did a thing that was fantastic. It was a salmon fumet, and it was like mousse. It was salmon and cream, and it was toasted. It was delicious. My favourite thing to order there, and I've never seen it anywhere before or since. The Kensington Palace had supplied all the managers and chefs and staff for the GPO Tower. They were all Kensington Palace trained, and they were very, very good at their jobs. I believe there was somebody called Mr. Gustav was the manager there. Anyway, it was a fun time. It was really a short time for me because the job didn't last that long. I don't think I was very good at it, really. One of the things I was told was that I had to be in the tower early to open it up, because the race from the American tower to the British tower was taking place, and I had to open the door to let them in at 9:30, and there would be all the camera crews and everything, and I had to do that. Well, I travelled a long way to my job, and the night before I was on the later duty, and I went home and there was a party going in my house. So, of course, I didn't wake up to go and open the tower. And in the evening television, there was a picture of my desk and nobody at it. So I was really on a very sort of thin line. I think it didn't take them too long to realise that I probably didn't have the self-disciplines one needed for that job. And so one Sunday morning, Mr. Gustav took me to task for something. And he said, he got angry, and I gave him some cheek, and he said, well, you better leave. So I said, that's a good idea. And I walked down this long corridor, and I thought, that poor man, he's got to do my duty on a Sunday morning, and he was going to have to be at that desk for 7 hours, taking over for me. And but I was happy to leave, because it wasn't really my cup of tea. But I'd enjoyed it, really. So anyway, that's just my little test video, which I'm going to send. I'm going to put it on YouTube and then see if I can send it to my friends. And gradually get the hang of this thing. Okay, so it's Saturday today. We are retired, and this is just one of the things that I want to do for a bit of fun. And so, speak to you soon. Bye-bye.